Welcome back to Bad Taste. I'm Sully the Loud Music Boy. This is Carson. This is Todd. They are in Century, who ripped it up this morning at the New England Metal and Hardcore Fest. Yeah, it's kind of weird saying this morning, but that's kind of the way it goes here on the Saturday show in Worcester. You know, one of the things, seeing you guys live, a little different obviously than the record. The record is obviously really heavy, but it doesn't quite bring out the sonic tones that you guys clearly have live. You know, what it sounds like to me, what you guys bring to the table, because you know our viewers out there who are all going to hunt down your MySpace, buy your records or whatever. I hear some Converge. Sure. You know, that kind of attitude with the chaos, the down tuning, lots of crazy fret work, but yet when you live, a lot of harmonics, a lot of kind of whittling. Love those, you know, the piggy squeals that get thrown in once in a while.
Those are so much fun to do.
I love piggy squeals. Piggy squeals are so metal. You know, for a band like you, where we've already discussed the fact that you're not one of those, you're not a band, you're a project, and each of the members brings their own experience and their own skills in. What is your influence when you started writing music and you started thinking about, we're putting this on, we're laying this stuff down? What was some of the musical influences that you guys brought to the table that ultimately wound up on Black Ocean?
Well, I think you know, I think anyone doing anything creative is just a culmination of their influences. You know, I don't think that we're necessarily doing anything new or all that original. I think it's just in the execution that we try to make it kind of our own thing. You know, my favorite bands are, you know, Failure, Cave In, Live, the band Live.
Yeah, they're great.
And honestly, Live is pretty much my biggest influence musically.
Because you and Ed Kowalczyk don't really...
No,
you know, there's not a lot of similarities between you and Ed Kowalczyk.
Well, one of my best friends for 14 years is the guitar player of that band.
Okay.
And he actually co-produces all of our Century records. So
is that a possibility that you guys might be from Pennsylvania?
We are from Lancaster, PA. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and that guy, his name's Chad Taylor.
Yep.
And he was growing up, he was my parents' next door neighbor, and he's basically the guy that got me into rock and roll and got me into music, playing, and even got me into production and you know, recording. He pretty much taught me everything I know about music. So I have him, you know, and his band, which has been one of my favorite bands for over a decade, to thank for probably my main influence. You know, specifically like the song "White Discussion."
Oh, that's a
in my
great
opinion,
song.
is one of the heaviest songs ever made.
Is.
And heavier than most, you know, metal hardcore that I hear too.
Absolutely.
Just in the way that it's executed, the sincerity, you know, I mean, and everything from the visuals of that record that you associate with that song, and the entire album for that matter. I mean, it's just the perfect execution, and that's one of those albums that really resonates with me, and it hits a spot, and is just completely inspiring, you know, and that's kind of where I get my you know, creative juice from. So, but then, you know, I have my other favorite bands like Failure and Cave In and
classics.
You know,
yeah,
and Converge
absolutely.
is a big influence. I love Converge, you know, and I think we kind of, you know, have a little bit of that, you know, in our music as well. So
well, certainly the live, you know, absolutely, Secret Samadhi is my favorite live record. Yeah, Throwing Copper kind of laid the groundwork for me. Secret Samadhi was the kicker that it's a record I can't live without.
Perfect album.
But if you're sitting here thinking like, okay, Failure, and they're playing New England Metal and Hardcore Festival, yeah, go more toward the Cave-In, and really these guys do kind of run the Cave-In gamut of the Until Your Heart Stops to the heck was the last record? I can't. Thank you. No. Perfect Pitch Black. Thank you. Where they kind of were able to blend the heavy and the light on Perfect Pitch Black. That's really what you're getting out of Century. Todd, what do you bring to the table? I'm surprised hearing live, and that's cool. But you know, when you brought your influences to the table, what are you thinking about in the back of your mind?
I mean, I grew up. I was the metalhead kid in high school, wearing Slayer shirts and
nice.
You know, like, you know, that was like what, 1991, 92 when I was in high school.
So you were getting the crap kicked out of you.
Oh yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
But then at the same time, like, I would listen to Slayer, and then I would go and listen to like all sorts of like crazy punk stuff.
Cool.
And then, you know, over the years it's evolved. I mean, I kind of really got into hardcore for a lot of years. And it's just really, Snapcase is, I mean, they're good friends of mine. They were just a huge influence musically. you know, personally and everything. That's definitely rubbed off on me a lot. And I mean, I still, you know, listen to like, you know, 70s classic rock stuff. I mean, I'd sooner sit home and listen to, you know, Black Sabbath all day.
Yeah.
And like David Bowie's stuff. So, I mean, which is, I think the influences that we have would kind of, you'd look at it and be like, really? But at the same time, if you think about it, it's like,
Right.
makes sense.
You get the songwriting abilities, the song structuring abilities that bands like Live and Cave In and Slayer obviously bring to the table, and then it's almost just amped up.
Yeah. That basic, I mean, if you actually break the song structures on Black Ocean down, I mean, in any of our records, they're actually all pop song structure. They're verse, chorus, you know, verse, chorus, bridge, lead, chorus, you know, outro. And it's, you know, it's very kind of standard, straightforward, but we try to kind of mix the two. And that's why I love having Chad co-produce our records, because he doesn't, you know, he doesn't come from that, you know, heavy metal background. He comes from the alternative background. And mixing those two things, I think, kind of produces a sound that's a little bit original. But I mean, overall, it really doesn't matter in terms of genre for me to be, you know, inspired by a song. One of my favorite songs of all time is Seal, Kiss from a Rose.
Okay.
And we just did a cover of that song. We just recorded it.
Wow.
And that's going to come out on a Tribunal Records comp later in the summer, but we'll have it up online pretty soon.
Awesome.
It turned out really good, and I think we did it justice. It's not one of those ironic covers, you know, where it's like you take a, you know, a adult contemporary R&B song and scream over it, and that's supposed to be funny. It's not. I mean, we scream in it, but it's more about we're trying to embrace the atmosphere that song creates, and just kind of the feeling, you know. A bit of a nostalgia thing, you know, and it's, you know, and just kind of make it our own. And I think we achieved that with what we recorded. But I mean, just if you listen to that original song, I mean, the whole kind of vibe of it is just so, you know, that is one of those things that resonates with us, you know, that feeling that you get from listening to that song. So that's a good example of, you know, we're not necessarily trying to achieve a certain genre. You know, we play aggressive music, but it's more about kind of the way that it's played and the atmosphere it creates, rather than just being heavy for the sake of being heavy.
That's awesome. This is Carson. This is Todd. They're in Century. New record called Black Ocean on Prosthetic Records. You need to go. You need to buy it. You need to crank it loud. Summertime is almost here, so that means you got to crank it with the windows down within your cars, scare your neighbors, scare your parents, whatever you need to do. Just do what you got to do to pick it up. I'm Sully, Evil Dickie behind the camera. This is Bad Taste with Blood and Bruises, kids.